Hello everyone and welcome back to the Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trilogy. When we last left off, we had finished, I think, the former trial, oh maybe not, the trial former, but we had called upon, oh no, I think, no, we have. My student. Hello. So yeah, we had called upon Officer Marshall, Jake Marshall, whoever, the cowboy with the most amazing song ever, and yeah, we shall have to wait and see what his rootin' tootin' testimony is. Yeehaw! There's no stopping you, is there, Mr. Wright? Huh? What do you mean? You called for Jake Marshall. It seems you figured everything out. I haven't figured anything out. Lana! You're the one who knows everything! Emma, you always know everything! Why don't you just tell us? Mr. Wright is trying his hardest to protect you! I don't recall ever asking for his protection. How can you be so cold? Don't you trust us? Don't you trust me? Hey, I hope I'm not interrupting, pals. Oh, yes I am. I'll come back later. Wait, Detective Gumshoe! What is it? You got a lot of nerve, pal, making a detective run around all around while on duty. And to top it off, you caught me here. I've seen happier people at funerals. Sorry, detective. You better be, pal. Hey! I didn't see the chief prosecutor Sky. That's okay. So, have you bought what I asked? Oh! You mean this, right? My apologies, Detective. Due to my present circumstances, I was forced to use Mr. Wright's name when making my request. My name? Never in a million years would I have thought it was you who asked me. Can I bother you to bring me the SL9 incident files? I'll need them by noon. Talk about crazy. The SL9 incident? Banana, that's... I thought Mr. Wright might need them, so I had them brought here. Here, you might do well to read them. I can't believe you, the chief prosecutor, were a witness in that case. This guy was a witness? Files for the Joe Dark's killings, solved 2 years ago. Let's have a little read then. Closed. Perpetrator Joe Dark. Crime, serial murder. Sentence, death. Victims, Edward Jones, Edith Kirby, Jeb Bates, Jason Knight, Rachel Moss, Neil Marshall. Marshall? Oh, that'll be interesting then. I wonder if there's any relation to Jake Marshall. Maybe a brother, or a dad, maybe. That'll be interesting. Head prosecutor Edgeworth, witnesses Lana Sky and Emma Sky. They were both witnesses? Executive investigators Damon Gant and Lana Sky. Head investigator Inspector Gadget. Investigators Jake Marshall and Angel Starr. Take it from me, you don't want anything to do with serial murders. Oh, what? Now I've brought you the stuff, you're gonna ignore me? Emma! Why? Why is your name in here? What? My name's in there? I don't know. Unless... No, it couldn't be. Lana, this SL9 incident. Is that... That's a classification number the police found it under. 2 years ago, the rest of the world knew it as... the Joe Dark killings. The Joe Dark? No. No, Lana! That's over with! No! Emma, wait! She ran away. You know what? I had remembered. I gotta be somewhere. Sorry, pal, but I'm out of here. Jake Marshall, Angel Star, Damon Gant, Miles Edgeworth. Not to mention Lana and Emma. Everyone involved in this case is connected to those killings 2 years ago. It can't just be a coincidence. Knowing you, you just might be able to figure it out. Time to get to the Chalmers, right? Best of luck. I better take a good look at this file. To be continued. Oh, I should have just played it till then. I'll save it anyway, just in case. But trial latter. February 24th, 12:14 PM, District Court, courtroom number 9. 12:15 midday. This court will now reconvene for the trial of Miss Lotus Kai. Emma didn't come back. Allow me to call the next witness to the stand. The officer in charge regarding the evidence room on the day of the crime. Witness, please state your name and occupation. Yeah! There's that music! I love this song so much. Me, partner. Oh, I'm just a man same as you, wandering the trails of civilization. Occasionally helping the elderly cross intersections when needed. Yes, okay, we get it. Oh, I know you're a patrolman. Yes, my name. If you listen hard enough, you can hear the howling wind calling out. To be exact, it's Jake Marshall, Your Honor. Howling wind? I've never heard Edgeworth described that way before. Now, Mr. Marshall, let me ask you something. You're in charge of guarding the evidence room on the day the crime took place. Is this correct? According to your papers, partner. What do you mean? A desperado source bounds the desert sands. No paper can sum it up. Maybe especially got on with this quickly. Please share with us your testimony of the day of the crime. In plain old English. My job was to keep a wary eye on that bone orchard. They said I was supposed to make rounds 3 times a day, but that ain't my style. Besides, the room was protected by 2 security cameras anyway. If I remember right, I was at a street side saloon at the time I went down. I'm just an innocent traveling man, so if you're out of ammo, it's time I hit the trail. I don't say you particularly care for your attitude. I can't say I care for your beard, but you don't see me complaining. Wait a minute. What do you mean by 2 security systems? I mean the security cameras and the ID card reader. I reckon even a cowpoke like you knows about those. Yes, well, what about the fingerprint-activated locks on the evidence lockers? Fingerprint-activated lockers? What kind of newfangled doohickeys are those? He's not being very helpful, really, is he? Anyway, he's not that good with machines. Or with following orders, for that matter. Are you, Jake? Everyone's got their weaknesses now, don't they, Mr. Prosecutor? As well as you take trouble. Okay, Mr. Wright, he's all yours. And Mr. Cross-Examination, let's go. Hold it! How exactly did you keep an eye on the evidence room? I just made sure nothing moved in the security camera monitor. That room's so still. Even Tom dies in there. I was just a caretaker who interred the recordings. You interred them? Videos of nothing aren't that useful. When that time would come, I'd erase the tape. If nothing unusual is recorded, tapes are erased every 6 hours. Each time I erase a tape, it felt like I was erasing the bottom of the line. This guy has a flair for the dramatic, but isn't going to do him any good. I mean, come on, let's be real here. So in actuality, you don't physically enter the evidence room. But you made your rounds on the crime, right? Hey, you heard a word on a sick partner. I told you that ain't my style. I'm afraid I don't understand. No desperado, I know that that's Rose getting his way. No desperados I know join the police force. So, Officer Marshall, on the day of the crime, just between you and me, I didn't step foot in the evidence room that day. There was a rubber glove stuck in the victim's locker. Do you know anything about that? Sorry, partner. Can't say I do. I haven't been that great in weeks. How does this guy avoid being fired? Seriously. You used to be a detective, so you used the evidence room in the past, correct? Of course. Back in the day, my locker was a gold mine of evidence. And yet you didn't know about the fingerprint locking mechanism? Sorry, partner, I ain't good with machines. I couldn't even tell you how a bike works. That's quite, incredible. The sensors on the locker handles cannot be seen. It's well known that some detectives are unaware of their presence. Now that you mentioned it, Detective Gumshoe said something about it too. At any rate, it doesn't seem that this is relevant to the crime. Can you tell us what you were doing when the dark crime took place? What were you doing in a place like that? I was eating spaghetti. Not even Angel Stick lunches can beat that pot of Zvongo's sepia pasta. Do you need to tell us you abandoned your police duties to its yours? Not all desperados eat tacos, partner. That's not what I meant. This has at least taught her a lesson. That's strange. This isn't you. This is usually where Edward says, "Did you not want to raise this year?" Oh, I can go backwards with circle. I did not know that. Out of ammo, Officer Marshall? That's right, partner. Or as you'd call it, evidence. You plan to pin me to this crime, and you better draw. Otherwise, you're just wasting my time. My steel horse is waiting to carry me back west into the sunset. One thing seems clear. Despite being responsible for guarding the evidence room, it just doesn't appear to have seen anything. Texans don't take orders from anyone. Everyone knows that. Apparently your superiors don't. Okay, I had a trump card up my sleeve, so I'd best keep my cool. Before I use it, though, I'd better up the ante. Are you 77777? Oh no! Of course, the handprint. Officer Marshall, does this strike you as odd? That is you being called to testify like this. After all, you weren't in the security room at the time of the crime. And yet you dragged me down here. Explain yourself, partner. It's quite simple. You left a very large trail behind at the scene. Or to be exact, a handprint. It's real good, partner. Like I said, I'm the caretaker of that crypt. I'll pay my space. Now this made my rounds about once a month. So naturally my fingerprints would be in there. I only wish you were, officer. But you see, your fingerprints were covered in blood.
Witness, what is the meaning of this? Your blood-stained fingerprints on the crime scene.
The blood was wiped away, however. A luminol test clearly revealed this. Well, Officer Marshall?
It seems to me there ain't a person in this room with a head on his shoulders.
I take it you have an explanation then, Officer Marshall, about the blood-stained fingerprints?
Very well, you may begin your testimony about your fingerprints found at the scene of the crime.
Come on then, what have you got to say about this then?
Like I said, it's only natural for my fingerprints to be found without evidence room. All of them just happen to be in the same place as the bloodstained handprint. The murderer took the locker where my fingerprint was by chance. The bloodstain and the fingerprint are completely unrelated. But didn't you know the murderer was wearing gloves? See, I had nothing to do with it.
Is that so? Where's the other... Damn it, there isn't another handprint. Ah! Okay. Okay. Damn it, okay.
Witness's explanation appears valid.
It's more of a question of how did he know that the murderer was wearing gloves? Unless that was more of in court, but he still wouldn't know because he wasn't here.
Although there's room for doubt, life wouldn't be fun without any doubt, partner. The defense may now cross-examine witness.
This guy's hiding something. I could feel it. Now's my chance to prove it. Blood-stained fingerprints.
Hold it!
That's because you... How do you put it? Pay your respects once a month?
Yeah, that's right. That one more thing. That log has to be mine.
What?
What? You mean?
I mean what I said.
That's the locker I used when I was a detective. The locker I still use. All that's in there now is a heap of broken dreams.
I see.
It'd be strange if my fingerprints weren't all over the locker.
Apparently his fingerprint data was never removed from that locker's programming. He must have been using the fingerprint locker all this time without ever knowing it. So then, what about the bloody handprint?
Wasn't man, it's no mystery. Piece of spinning. My locker is good with my fingerprints. It just so happened.
The chances of that happening are 1,000,000 to 1.
On the contrary, one could argue it's the opposite. The chances of that's not happening are 1,000,000 to 1. You know one thing, straight partner. You ain't gonna get no reward for me with a mere fingerprint. You wanna know why?
Unrelated?
There's difference down to me. Kinda like cereal and cereal. One's got to do with breakfast, while the other's a type of murder. He's right, although seemingly alike, they're totally different.
I don't see what homonyms, never seen that word before, homonyms have to do with this.
Or didn't you know the murderer was wearing gloves?
How do you know that?
I may be a lawyer, but I still do my job. I keep up on the reports. There was a bloodstain at the scene, though thought to be left by the murderer. That's right. It's found in Detective Gumshoe's locker. However, no fingerprints were detected on that handprint. Oh yeah, I think we tried that too. So that would mean the murderer wearing gloves. It happened to place a hand on top of Officer Marshall's fingerprint. That's the only logical conclusion. He's starting to get the picture, partner.
The picture?
The seal of blood in the desert is just food for the buzzards. There's only one reality, and that's this.
The security tape.
As long as my trail isn't there, you can't see otherwise. This isn't getting to us anyway, Mr. Wright. Please consider carefully where you're going with this consideration.
Yes, Your Honor.
Nothing. Continue your testimony, Officer Marshall.
No, okay. Thought I had it. What do you mean by that?
You want to tell me to this crime? Isn't that right, partner? If so, that video is the only direct evidence you need.
That video is next to useless. It's full of blind spots.
Blind spots?
Places you can't see. The camera's panning back and forth. The floor isn't shown. If someone was familiar with the camera's position, they could leave the room without being caught on tape.
We don't have time for your speculations, Mr. Wright. Well, Mr. Wright, you can show us evidence in this video that indicates Officer Marshall was present. Please do so now.
Do you think it's the cloth? I think I have evidence. There's a piece of cloth hanging out from his locker in the tape. There isn't. I had to point out your mistake, Officer Marshall. Tread carefully, Mr. Wright. We might wind up being the one making the mistake.
Now then, let's have a look at the video. Show us this incriminating...
Maybe? There, how's that for evidence? Please allow me to apologise for my colleague, Your Honor. God damn it. Maybe I just need to hit the locker itself then. No. God damn it, man. There is evidence. It's not the person itself, is it? Okay. There's definitely something. You! Ah! No! I knew it was the cloth! I knew it was the cloth. I knew it was the cloth! Now I have to sit through this again. So there's nothing there. So then, magically, it's there. Take that! Bringing our attention back to the security camera. It's a mistake. I'm afraid you'll soon not forget, Officer Marshall.
The days are short in Texas, and so are our tempers. Could you sum up all you have to say in 8 words or less?
Very well. You can clearly be seen in this video.
Exactly 8 words. Not bad, partner.
The key is in a certain locker shown in the video. That locker with the white cloth sticking out was the witnesses, I believe. Now then, let's rewind the video a bit. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Got these seconds to slow. 4, 3, 2, 1. Happa!
Oh, the white cloth, it's gone. What's the meaning of this, Mr. Officer Marshall?
When the crime took place, the white cloth wasn't there. Then it suddenly appeared. There's only one explanation. Officer Marshall, you were in the evidence room at the time of the crime. What's more, you opened your locker when the camera was turned away.
Order, order! Lieutenant, hold your horses. Sorry, partner, but you got the wrong man. So what if my locker was open? That doesn't mean I'm the one who opened it. Murderer needed to hide something, so we opened the locker and stuck it in. It's not my fault he happened to choose mine. Why is everyone staring at me like I'm a wanted man?
This guy isn't just plain dumb. He really doesn't know. I hate to rain on your parade, but you're the only person who can open that particular locker.
Oh yeah? I'll go your bluff. You say open that locker, now prove it.
Take that! Okay.
Fingerprint sensor?
Yeah, it's not like we've said it about 5 times now! Come on! Seriously? We talked about this earlier today. The lockers can only be opened by detectives they belong to.
What kind of crazy talk is this?
Well, Detective Gumshoe did mention something about this.
In any case, the lock is not that obvious. There are even some people on the force that don't know about the fingerprint locks.
So, Sheriff, what do you have to say in 8 words or less?
Ooh. I only got 1 word for you, partner. No! Ooh. Order! Witness, explain yourself. If this is a joke, it's the worst I've ever heard.
I assure you this is no joke, Officer Marshall. Now then, please tell us what you were doing in the evidence room at the time of the crime.
Olay, please answer the question.
What is he now, a bullfighter? That's alright, Officer Marshall. I believe we can figure the rest out from here.
We can?
Have a look at these floor plans. There's no place for someone to hide in the evidence room. Yet Officer Meekins didn't see Officer Marshall.
If that's so, then where's the witness?
It seems Mr. Wright has an answer. That's right, the only possible conclusion.
Well, let's hear it.
I'm assuming V would be the victim.
Take that!
The supposed good one. Officer Marshall was standing right here.
Yeah, well, that's where the victim, Inspector Gadget, was.
Correct, unless the man wasn't Inspector Gadget. I believe the victim in this video is Officer Marshall. It was you dressed up like Inspector Gadget. Well, that's preposterous. Officer Meekins witnessed a detective at the crime scene. Once he saw the man's face, he'd know for sure. I point out though that Officer Meekins did not know Inspector Gadget. He also testified about the man's reaction when confronted. When I entered the evidence room, I asked him to show him his card, sir. Yes, and how did Inspector Gadget respond? He suddenly pulled a knife on me. Something about the officer's story puzzled me. If the man had his ID card, why didn't he just show it?
Yes, he would have needed it to enter the evidence room, so he must have been carrying it.
The answer is simple. He couldn't show it. As you can see, Inspector Gadget's picture is on his ID card.
Oh, I get it.
If he showed that, his cover would have been blown. Officer Meekins would have realised the man wasn't Inspector Gadget. Do you have anything to say to this, Officer Marshall? I'm gonna keep calling him Inspector Gadget because I'm sorry, he looks like the Inspector Gadget's actor. I can't remember the actor's name, but there you go.
You've got quite an imagination, partner. We got a term for that. It's called circumstantial evidence.
Circumstantial evidence? He's still denying it.
You're gonna have to do better than that to break a detective. Unless you have hard evidence proving I dressed up as the victim. I can't say I particularly care for your uncooperative disposition. I can't say I care for your appearance, but you don't see me complain. Well, that's right. Do you have any evidence proving beyond a shadow of a doubt that was a mortal dressed up as a victim?
Well, who am I kidding? I don't have anything like that.
I can see the fear in your eyes, partner. Seems you're the one who couldn't take the desert heat.
Oh, this can't be happening! It's so obvious he's the one! What can I do? It looks like your lack of experience has finally been exposed. I'll pass on to you what someone told me when I was just starting out. When you've run into a wall with no place to go, return to the basics. Basics. For me, that would be what Mia used to tell me.
Phoenix, try thinking outside the box!
I shouldn't look for proof that Officer Marshall was in disguise. Rather, I should look for evidence that came about because he was in disguise. Why do you think this locker was opened in the first place?
What do you mean? There's no reason for Officer Marshall to open his locker at the time of the crime, yet he did, despite the chance it might be discovered later, as it has been. Which means he didn't originally plan to open his locker.
According to the defense's argument, Officer Jake Marshall dressed up as the detective Inspector Gadget at the time of the crime. Then after the crime was committed, he opened his own locker for some unknown reason.
The fact that a white cloth is sticking out of the locker seems to indicate that he opened it in order to put the cloth inside.
So, just what exactly is this piece of cloth?
Perhaps that video is the key to all our unanswered questions. I don't have any evidence, so this video is my only shot.
Very well, let's take another look at the security tape. At the moment of the crime, the witness opened the lock to put away the white cloth. Please show us why the witness...
For some reason, you disguised yourself as Inspector Gadget and into the evidence room, though I don't know to what end yet.
Yes.
However, something unexpected happened. Officer Meekins barged in on you. When asked to show your ID card, you pulled a knife on him. However, Officer Meekins panicked, and when the white coat you were wearing was soiled with blood.
A bloody white coat?
You can just walk out like that. So you hid the coat in your locker.
Not bad, partner. Now then, Officer Marshall, are you ready to tell us the truth?
Looks like I underestimated all.
I hope you're happy now, Mr. Edgeworth.
2 years ago, you were only half as persistent then as you are today. You wouldn't have to be here now would you? Officer Marshall, tell the court what you did. All of it.
Alright. Seems the time has come. I had to do it that day. I couldn't just stand by and let it die. I stole the detective's ID just like it. I planned to take out the evidence. I wasn't expecting Officer Meekins. I knocked him out and managed to escape. I know which areas wouldn't be caught on the camera. There wasn't any murder in the evidence room at 5:15. So the supposed victim was really you.
But there's one thing I still don't understand. Traces of a large quantity of blood were found on the floor of the evidence room. If no one was murdered, then how could that be?
Officer Meekins managed to cut his own head. My guess is he's the donor.
It was way too much blood for such a small donation. We have to cross-examine the confession. When you say it, you mean...
Do you even have to ask, partner?
SR9 incident.
2 years have passed since the case was closed.
It was going to completely end with a transfer on that day.
Not if I have anything to do with it. That incident's not over.
What did you hope to accomplish by sneaking into the evidence room?
When a case is closed, only that case's lead detective can look through the evidence. I wanted to have a look at it myself one more time. I want to walk the cost. I don't care what anyone says, partner. That case is mine.
But Officer Marshall wasn't in charge of that investigation. Why does he care so much about it?
That day was my last chance, that's why.
I think I get it. It is his dad. No, okay. Why did you disguise yourself as Inspector Gadget?
I didn't make it look like Gadget was carrying out the evidence just for all. I'd be arrested for stealing evidence, which wouldn't get me anywhere.
So you didn't defraud the security camera?
And the detective's ID card?
I stole that the morning of the incident.
Is that really was why Goodman started filing out that last item report?
I returned his ID card. Now that's on the floor in the prosecutor's office parking lot. The ID card I found was left there by Officer Marshall. So essentially, you managed to succeed despite your lack of foresight.
What do you mean, partner?
I mean the fingerprint activated lock, of course. No matter how well you disguise yourself, you can't change your fingerprints. Under normal circumstances, you wouldn't have been able to open that lock yourself. But he could because the rubber glove just happened to get stuck in the door. That means Inspector Gadget must have opened the locker before Officer Marshall. No, okay. You pulled a knife on Officer Meekins and tried to drive him off.
Let's just say I was a little surprised. I only planned on being in the evidence room for no more than 5 minutes. I didn't think anyone would actually come in during that short time. Officer Meekins said he's a what in a million type of person. He's taking a detective for an intruder and demanding to be shown his ID.
I'll have to think a little more about his raise this year. When did Edgeworth get so much influence?
Anyway, he threw himself at me and I ended up cutting him slightly. I'm sorry it had to turn out that way. Me knocking him out and everything.
By the way, what happened to your knife? Oh, you mean this one? I don't know what to say.
So you knocked Officer Meekins out hand.
So you did your research beforehand.
Those who go into the desert unprepared don't live long, partner. I didn't think it would make a difference, though. The security tape is raised every 6 hours. If all had gone as planned, no footage would have been left.
However, your bloodied coat and your struggle with Officer Meekins.
Someone was in the security room when I came out, and the jig would have been up. I opened my locker and stashed in there.
What was Officer Meekins doing during that time?
What else? He was sleeping like a baby.
So what you're saying is on that day...
sorry.
But the blood found at the scene certainly indicates a crime took place.
What are you, blind? The victim shown on the tape is me, and I'm not dead yet, partner.
Sis stole the evidence from the locker.
Actually, no, I didn't.
Why not?
When I opened the locker, the evidence was already gone. What? Referred to it. Where's that evidence?
It's still missing, Your Honor. Inspector Gadget's locker was already empty. Someone stole the evidence. I had a feeling we'd wind up here sooner or later. I heard volunteers are related in some way to that case. I'm prepared to take another look at the files. Blah 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 blah.
Oh, far away, partner. It's free country. Just remember, I'm also free to decide whether or not to answer.
Why did you do this? Stealing a detective's ID, injuring a police officer. This is no small offence.
Moreover, you're an officer yourself. It will have serious consequences. It can't just be forgiven with a simple cut in salary. Not that salary cuts are ever a valid solution. Like I said, this isn't your case. This one is mine. I'll do anything it takes to get an answer I'm satisfied with. The witness has an unusual amount of zeal. Let's hear more.
Objection!
Officer Marshall, I think I understand. I think I know why you care so much about the SL9 incident.
Sounds like you've been sipping too much cactus juice, partner.
An SL9 incident file here. The name Marshall is mentioned in here. A list of murder victims. Neil Marshall. Are you related to this man?
Neil Marshall? Yeah. I'm sure you've heard the name. 2 years ago, he received the same lousy prosecutor award you got. What? A prosecutor?
You must be talking about the King of Prosecutors award. Now I remember. Prosecutor Neil Marshall. He handled the SL9 case before I did.
That's right. He was killed. And the case fell into your hands. What's his relation to you?
He was
My brother.
brother! I knew something like that. Dad, brother, it was going to be something like that.
He was investigating the murders with Damon Gant, the then deputy chief of police. A group of detectives I was part of worked under them. We were desperate to prosecute the killer. Joe Dark. My brother fought Dark and was killed. That was the first time Dark left behind any evidence. That was all we needed. He was arraigned and incarcerated. The case was finally closed. At least according to the public records.
What do you mean?
My brother couldn't have just been killed by Joe Dark. I knew my brother better than anyone. No one could have beaten him in a fight.
That's it. That's your reason for your insane actions.
There's more to my brother's death than what the records say. How much you have to try harder? You can't fool me. Well, at least one thing's for certain. Now we know what happened to the police department on the day of the crime.
That was last day the SL9 incident could be reopened. Not satisfied with his resolution, Officer Marshall planned to steal the evidence. Disguising himself as Inspector Gadget, he entered the evidence room. Officer Meekins confronted him, so he rendered him unconscious and fled. Yes, his mystery has finally been cleared up. No murder took place at the police department that day. The things that happened by chance never cease to amaze. At exactly the same time the murder at the prosecutor's office, this fake murder was going on at the police department. Chance? It's gotta be more than just that.
So if no one was murdered at the police department on the day of the crime, that means the murder in the prosecutor's parking lot was the real one.
Which in turn means only one person could have committed the crime. Chief Prosecutor Lance Sky. But wait, a verdict wasn't reached in yesterday's trial. Which is why we examined the incident to the police department today. But there's only one reason the defendant was not convicted yesterday, yet remained the mystery of the simultaneous murders at the police department.
It seems to me this bug's got a draw on you, partner.
All of the mysteries of the police department have been resolved, no doubt about it. Our sole murder took place at the prosecutor's office. The only suspect is Lana Sky. And the testimony of Miss Adelstar is completely incontestable. If you have a response, make it a single word or less. I rest my case.
It seems this trial has reached its conclusion. There's no room for doubt.
Well done, Mr. Wright. Thanks to you, I didn't need to waste my time disproving the alleged murder at the police department. There's no doubt what I proved today is true. The apparent murder in the security cameras tape really was fake, but I didn't realise how it would end up proving Lana guilty.
Now then, the time for the verdict has arrived. This one finds the defendant.
Objection. Hold it. Emma?
Your Honor, wait! Emma! The defense has an objection, a scientific objection! Right? What do you mean, right?
Mr. Wright,
You discuss Garden, Your Honor? In a sense.
Please, Your Honor, all I'm asking is for a minute of your time. Please hear me out! Mr. Edgeworth, please!
I don't want to leave any loose ends. You want a minute? I'll give you 3.
I was kind of in shock. I mean, finding out the SNI incident referred to Joe Dark Killings.
Oh, she mentions it. The names of both Sky's sisters were in that file.
But that's when I figured it out. I mean, one Officer Marshall was trying to do that day. So I knew his fingerprint had nothing to do with the crime. That left only one thing, the other handprint.
You mean the traces of blood found on Detective Gumshoe's locker?
but no fingerprints were found on it, right?
No, but I figured if I examined it scientifically, I'd be sure to find clues. So I ran over there and looked at it again.
So did you find something?
No. Huh? Sorry. I guess I'm not much of a scientific investigator after all.
Is that all?
Please don't be mad, I'm just a high school student.
And I'm just an attorney.
But right! Those traces of blood are the only clue we have. If we can't find something wrong with them, please, Mr. Wright, you're a professional. You don't say a lot as you.
Me?
Oh boy.
Time's up now, Mr. Wright.
In regard to the incident in the police department, does any reasonable doubt remain? It appears another mishugging. Yes, hello again. Hello again, how are we? Another mishugging. Aye, I'll tell you what, aye. It appears the defense is troubled by the other blood mark. Looking at the floor plans, a handprint was discovered here.
Mr. Wright, I'm sorry, I can't be more of use.
Yo, how is you today? I don't even know.
Mr. Wright, I'm sorry, but still, if you can't find anything wrong with that blood mark, what will be?
Please answer my question, Mr. Wright. We don't have all day.
Yes, Your Honor. Oh, if ever I need to concentrate, it's now. What could be wrong with that handprint on Detective Gumshoe's locker? Could it be something I'm missing? I object. Why leave it? This handprint after the crime scene clearly shows a contradiction. The only thing that seems clear is your grasping, Mr. Wright.
You've been staring pretty intently at those floor plans. Tell me, is there a problem with them?
Yes, this is strange. Take a good look at these floor plans. Something is missing. Missing? You mean something hasn't been drawn on there? Yeah. Something that, when drawn, will completely change the meaning of the blood mark.
Let us pray the defense isn't simply trying to buy time. Very well, Miss Wright.
With all this evidence here, there's got to be something I can use.
The question is, which item?
You? Because if he was passed out, What about that piece of plywood? The Blue Badger, mascot of the Police Force, defender of truth, guardian of truth. Explain yourself, Mr. Wright. Well, exactly what happened is I kind of stumbled on my words and I didn't know what I was saying, so I just went blah 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 blah. Mr. Wright, you do realise you're talking to yourself, don't you? None of us have any idea what you're talking about. Ah, right. Anyway, please look at the floor plans of the crime scene. The Blue Badger is not here. So, watch what happens when you put him in. So this is where he was dancing at the scene of the crime. Well, what? That's right. So long as the Blue Badger is dancing here, it would have been possible to place a handprint at this spot on the locker. Whoa. So that means, what exactly does that mean? It means it can't be done. What are you saying? Blood traces were undeniably found on that locker. Don't look at me, I didn't put it there. Mr. Wright, think it through scientifically. Emma, on that afternoon, Officer Meekins was the one who brought the Blue Badger to the evidence room, right? Now he put it down, it would have been impossible to leave a handprint on that locker. So that must mean this blood mark was left there before the Blue Badger was put in. Just one moment, I won't allow this far-fetched balderdash in my courtroom. It may sound far-fetched, Your Honour, but it's the only possible explanation. On February 21st, in the police department's evidence room, blood was spilled not once but twice. But how? One time was captured on this tape by a security camera. Officer Meekins cut his hand, which was a trivial moment until the blood fell. The problem is the other time. Oh, and to be fair, you can't see the... Oh, you can see part of it, but you can't see where the handprint would have been. Someone bled prior to the struggle shown on this tape. It had to have been. It had to have been Inspector Gaddy when he was really murdered. That's ridiculous. I refuse to accept your absurd claim. The murder portrayed in the security tape has been proven to be a fake. However, that does not explain the blood mark found on the locker. So then, assuming this murder you purport really happened, is because when was it? Oh, it was Meekins that went in twice. Okay. When did it take place? I'd imagine you show evidence that proves when it occurred. When did the first incident occur? To summarise, the defence claims that prior to Officer Meekins being killed by Jake Marshall, who is posing as Inspector Gadget, well, that incident took place in that evidence room. That's right. The blood mark on the locker proves this. Very well. Then tell us, when did the first incident occur? As Mr. Edgeworth said, proved to be so. Proof that shows the murder took place. It's in one piece of evidence to consider it. In other words, the defense prove its evidence. I have a feeling. Lucky number 7. I was thinking that because it still doesn't have the name. But the question is, I mean, I get that his key card was stolen, but then why would he have the lucky number 7 card? We're gonna call it that from now on. The lucky number 7 card. I mean, unless like someone gave it to him, but why would he go in? Oh, I don't know. I really don't know. This is interesting. I don't know. Well,
I guess we'll just have to wait and see, really, won't we? If the crime took place inside the evidence room, then the killer would have had to enter it. And in order to do so, an ID card would have been required.
An ID card?
Oh, the ID card record! Officer Meekins brought the blue badge panel into the evidence room at,
let's see here, 4:50 p.m.
If the crime
took place before that time, then it would be 4:40 p.m. Mr. Mars Edgeworth, what have you done?
I never would have figured you had nerve, boy. Oh, well, okay. You're going too quickly, Alice. You're going too quickly. It's not the lucky number 7 card. Miss Mars Edgeworth, you're going too quickly. Calm.
I never would have figured you had the nerve, boy.
Drop the act, witness. It doesn't take a lot of thought to figure out it could have been me.
Nope, I get it. I'm afraid I don't understand that.
It's clear from the luminal test that blood was there. However, when the second crime took place, both Officer Meekins and Officer Marshall failed to notice the blood. That means the blood from the first crime was wiped away by the real murderer. I would have had just 10 minutes to murder the victim, carry his body away, and clean up the blood. And unfortunately, that's physically impossible.
That would mean the crime must have been taking place before Mr. Edgeworth entered the evidence room.
Yeah, true, I guess. True. We gotta figure this out together. Unless you've played this game before, otherwise spoilers, we gotta figure this out together, you and me. Let's look at that chart again. There's only one other card number remaining. 7777777.
Talk about a lucky number.
The lucky number 7 card.
But wait, that doesn't make sense. How could Inspector Gadget have entered the evidence room?
Since there's no record of his card being used beforehand, he must have entered along with the real murderer. That's the only plausible explanation. He went in with 7777777.
Mr. Edgeworth, please let me do this data. Find out whose ID number is 7777777777777.
That's 1 7 too many, Your Honor. Unfortunately, I'm unable to lock up the owner of that ID card, at least at present. What?
Explain yourself, son.
The ID number 7777777 belongs to someone with a rank of captain or higher. Someone who is a so-called executive officer. We don't have the authority to inquire into such a person's identity. I never played it. Oh, hey, well, that's alright then. Me and you, we can figure this out together. Me and you can do this case together then. That's ridiculous. Just how?
I'm not finished talking, Mr. Wright.
There's one situation in which we can be guaranteed such authority.
If an official charge filed against an executive is accepted.
An official charge?
You're all alike, aren't you? With your cover-ups and your forgeries. That's how the prosecutor's office operates.
I take pride in my work, Member Officer Marshall. I would appreciate it if you would keep your slander to yourself.
Slander, is it? Okay. Let me ask a question.
Yes?
No, not you. To her, the defendant sitting over there. Your own little executive.
Lana? Don't be stupid. She's been charged with murder. Of course we've looked her up on her ID number, and it's not 7777777.
Don't play me a fool, partner. That's not what I wanted to ask. All I want to know is one thing about that incident. That's not innocent. Answer me this, Chief Prosecutor. That trial 2 years ago, did you really only use legitimate evidence?
Ooh. Oh no. That was below the belt.
Do you need the witness to repeat his question, Chief Prosecutor?
I heard him fine, Mr. Edgeworth.
2 years ago, I was in charge of the prosecution for that trial. At the time,
Occasionally, we felt the powerlessness of the law. At least, I did.
Lana!
I became a prosecutor in order to suppress crime in the law. But before I realized it, we were the ones being suppressed by the law.
Defendant, what are you saying? I'll ask you again, Chief Prosecutor. During that trial 2 years ago, did you really present all the evidence in court?
Can you look at me, an investigator in that crime, in the eye, and say that you did?
Chief Prosecutor, you didn't. This is gossip. This is going to be all over OYE magazine.
I don't have to, Officer Marshall.
Why won't you answer him?
Drastic crimes require drastic measures. That's just the way it is. We did what we had to, in order for him to get the verdict he deserves.
But Lana!
Even if it involved forging evidence.
All the evidence agrees, eh? all the evidence in the folder opens it up. Why did you use us? Agrees, eh?
See, that's what I'm talking about.
No. No! Oh, that's a different sort of talk in the courtroom. Sound effect. That's a question would have to wait until the following day. Oh no. To be continued. Oh no. Yes, please. And then investigation. Day 3. February 20th.
I'm so sorry, Mr. Wright.
This.
I didn't know. I never knew the SLN was just another name for the Joe Dart killings.
Sounds like everyone's heard about these killings but me.
Lana wanted Dart convicted so badly. That's why she used me. That's why she used what happened to me.
What do you mean, what happened to you?
It's all there in the file. Joe Dart's last victim was prosecutor Neil Marshall. When he murdered Officer Marshall's brother, he left behind an incriminating piece of evidence.
But what did you have to do with those killings, Emma?
Another prosecutor Neil Marshall was murdered. Joe Dart tried to kill me.
What? He tried to kill you?
Officer Marshall's brother, Neil, was only trying to save me.
So that means you...
Yeah, I was witnessing the Joe Dart trial.
I did see that one coming.
It happened 2 years ago. It was right about this time of the year, too. There was a terrible thunderstorm that day, unusual for the season. I was alone in my sister's office, and we were planning to eat dinner together once she finished her work. And then suddenly, this terrifying man came bursting into the office.
Joe Dart.
It seemed like he was running from someone. He brought on a knife and screamed at me. I didn't know what was going on. Just then, Prosecutor Marshall showed up.
Jake Marshall's brother.
Joe Dart tried to take me hostage. Then before he could, Mr. Marshall tackled him. Then...
What happened?
I'll never forget it. Lightning struck and lights went out. Suddenly, a ball of lightning flashed outside the window, lighting up an office for an instant. I saw that permanent picture in my mind. I can still see it now.
A permanent picture?
I don't remember the moment that Doc stabbed Mr. Marshall.
So you weren't able to testify about that?
No, I was only asked about when I was attacked. Must be why Lana. But she made up the crime.
Made it up?
You mean provided bogus evidence? The prosecutor's office wanted to that guilty verdict so badly. Lana forged evidence, and Mr. Edgeworth used it.
Edgeworth?
Yeah. I sure didn't know about it. I couldn't have known he was being given false evidence. Even so, that's when it all started. The rumors about Mr. Edgeworth. I mean, it's all my fault. If I couldn't have just testified, probably none of this would have happened.
So it's true. Even though he may not have known it, Edgeworth really was involved in falsifying evidence.
This is absolute madness, this is. After that case ended, Lana was never the same. She became cold like she is today.
She must not have been able to face up to what she did, especially not to Emma. What did you see in the instant that crime occurred?
Doc knocked down Mr. Marshall and raised his knife. Mr. Marshall was stabbed right before his poor girl.
Oh.
I don't remember what happened after that. Apparently I passed out.
Wrong voice to wrong character.
When I came to, Lana was cradling me in her arms.
Poor Emma. You've been through so much.
I couldn't bring myself to testify about that instant. I tried, but the words just wouldn't come out. I drew a picture, but it wasn't any good.
2 years ago, you must have been 14. That's understandable.
Once it was all over, I made up my mind. I decided when I grew up I'd become a scientific investigator. I want to be able to fight crime with my testimonies, and find the evidence to make an airtight case, and when Anna would never have to forge any.
I see. I think I'm finally starting to understand what makes Emma tick. But there's still something bothering me about that crime. There's something that's puzzling me, Emma.
What is it?
You said you were in Lana's office at that time, right?
That's right.
Why then would a serial killer come running in there?
Not only that, but he was being chased by a prosecutor. Oh, there's no mystery there. Joe Dark had been taken in for questioning that day.
Taken in for questioning? You mean by the police?
Of course, this happened at the police department. He tried to run away halfway through the interview and fled into my sister's office.
This is absolute madness. First the DL6 case, then the SL9. What next?
But why did he run all the way over to your sister's office? Because the detective office is in the questioning room right across from the elevator.
Across from the elevator? Lana was the chief prosecutor, wasn't she?
No, silly, didn't I tell you? 2 years ago, Lana was a detective. She was the best in the entire force.
What? That's news to me.
After Joe Dark case, she was transferred to the prosecutor's office and made chief prosecutor.
Lana used to be a detective? I'd better have another talk with her. Let's move to the detention center.
Hello. Lana!
Mr. Wright, it seems they keep causing you trouble. Falsifying evidence? I didn't think you were the type. Criminals don't mind playing foul. Why should we?
But Lana, if you're wrong, an innocent person might be found guilty.
Believe me, I understand the risks. Lana, Emma told me about you.
Oh?
About how you were a detective 2 years ago. And how the SL9 incident was the reason for your transfer to the prosecutor's office. That's right. Could you fill me in on the details? Especially about that unusual change of jobs. I suppose you have a right to know, Mr. Wright. A lot of revelations were uncovered at the trial today. Not the least of which was the fact that this case is largely connected to another one 2 years ago. Evidence from that case was stolen as well, though.
Oh, I expected as much. I know how obsessive Officer Marshall can be.
That trial really wasn't fair, was it? I believed in you, Lana. I believed that no matter what happened, you'd always stick to the truth.
It can be helped, Emma. At that job 2 years ago, I sold my soul.
Well, all drama aside, the fact of the matter is, at 5:15 there was no murder in the police department. Tell me it's not true, Lana. What the witness, Miss Donna, said. Hey, stabbing Mr. Gadget with a knife. Lana, I don't understand. Why won't you tell us?
Emma, it doesn't involve just me.
I don't think I've ever seen Lana look so phased before.
It's true, I was a member of the police force 2 years ago.
She was amazing.
They still talk about the cases she and Chief Gant cracked together.
Chief Gant? What does Lana mean by self-soul? I honestly don't know. I was just thinking that. She sold her soul, but how? And the question is, who? Because, here's a theory, right? If we find out who she supposedly sold her soul to, I have a feeling they might be the real killer. Because I'm thinking, if she sold that her soul to that person, it's blackmail. Lana may have done something and gone, I'm going to expose you for your blackmailing. They kill someone, pin it on Lana. It's an idea. It's an idea. I mean, it's an idea. It's just a question of who. You know.
He was a deputy chief of police back then, but he still worked the crime scenes. Damon Gant, he was everything I aspired to be.
They were the best team ever. They solved crimes before reports could even be filed.
Emma really idolizes her big sister. But now you're chief prosecutor.
What happened?
I always planned on becoming a prosecutor, and the reason I became a detective was
to gain experience investigating crime scenes, so you could take that experience in court, right? Lana sold herself to Demon. Gant? You mean Chief Officer Gant Damon? But why? I mean, obviously there's no one called Demon, so I'm assuming you mean Gant Damon. But why Gant?
Gant's help in the SLI case was crucial to its resolution, and I became chief of police and arranged my transfer to the police prosecutor's office.
Maybe I should ask more about this investigation of theirs 2 years ago. But yeah, as we just saw, Chief Gant gave her the opportunity and the offer for her to become a prosecutor, so interesting.
2 years ago, I was second in command of the detectives investigating Dark.
Second in command? How many investigation lead was lead was David Gant, right?
Yes. Deputy Chief Gant and I shared the same office and the same investigations. They even had the same office.
They even had the same office.
We led a team of the best detectives on the force. Inspector Gadget, whose case it was, Jake Marshall and Angel Star. It was the first time Marshall worked with his brother. He was quite gung-ho. Without Joe Dark was a serial killer. We asked him to come in for questioning. We were desperate for evidence. That was when his final murder took place. When he tried to murder Emma.
Prosecutor Marshall was trying to save me from Dark.
You see, the first person who happened upon the scene of the crime was me.
Now you tell us. That means Gant could use Chief Prosecutor. True! That is actually true.
It'd be like, oh, I gave you this job. I made you to where you are today, so you do this, this, and this for me. True. Plus, he was also involved in the SR9 case. That's interesting. Ooh, okay, Devon Ganter's suspect. Is suspect number 3 at this point? Now you tell us. Damon Gant and Neil Marshall were the ones questioning Dark that day. The investigation was in its final stages, and Dark must have suddenly panicked. So he waited until Gant and Marshall let the guards down and then fed the room. And then he ran straight to the office shared by Deputy Chief Gant and myself.
That's where he found me.
So you were the first person to run to the scene, Lana?
It appears so.
I was filing some papers while Gant and Marshall were questioning Dark.
The question is, though,
like, okay, so let's go off the idea that Damon is the potential killer and Lana sold her soul to Gant. Gant is blackmailing her. The question still remains of how did she sell her soul? What did she do? Is it the forged evidence? Or is it something completely different? I really don't know. It's interesting. There's many questions that are yet to be answered. I was filing some papers while again Marshall questioning Dark. When I returned to my office, I saw 3 bodies on the floor and smelled blood.
3 bodies? Prosecutor Marshall, the victim, Emma, who had passed out, and the suspect, Joe Dark. During the struggle, it seemed Mr. Marshall struck a final blow before he died. Joe Dark had incurred a minor concussion and lay unconscious. What did you do? To be honest, I panicked. I picked up Emma and carried her out of the room and just held her. Can't blame her. After all, her sister must have gone through. And I placed Dark under immediate arrest. Let me get this straight. You were all involved in the SR9 incident, Emma. What do you mean Emma? What? You mean Emma in what sense? That's right. Quite a coincidence.
I don't buy it. What are you saying? There's no way everyone involved in this trial was also involved in that incident. Just by chance. That case was solved 2 years ago. At least one person went to extremes because they didn't believe it was truly solved.
Officer Marshall, yes, his actions came as a surprise to me as well. Ever since his brother died, he's changed completely.
I guess he wasn't convinced with the ruling against Joe Dark.
Life doesn't end with the closing of the case. Everyone has to live the rest of their lives with their memories.
That case just might not be over yet.
Emma was assaulted by Dark at the police department, right? Yes, in the office that Damon Gant and I shared. The office that Mr. Gant now occupies himself. The Chief's office.
Maybe we should have a look at the Chief's office. The site of the final SR9 murder.
I have a feeling, guess where we're going? February 24th. Yep. No one's here today. Not even Miss Star.
Everyone's probably busy looking into what exactly went down in the evidence room. That's where the detectives are.
We proved in court today that on the day of the crime, no one was murdered in the evidence room at 5:15.
Yeah, I thought we were finally making some headway in our case.
Instead, it looks like we just ended up making Lana look even more guilty.
Hang in there, Lana.
I've got to find all the answers by tomorrow. Okay, so it must be this way. Yeah!
I'm sorry, still amazing music, man.
Howdy, big bean.
Oh, Mr. Marshall!
I never thought things would turn out this way when I woke up this morning. Wait, Sarah. You never know where life will lead you, eh, Bambino? I should have known my luck had run out when old Billy dried up this morning.
Billy? Must be his cactus.
Say, where are you headed?
Oh, say, where are you headed?
Just over to the prosecutor's office for a little interrogation. It's a voluntary appearance. We all know I won't be coming back. Sorry, but you can't go in the evidence room, see, partner.
Mr. Marshall, when did you do it?
Why, the prospectors hit west. If there was a case I needed to know the truth about, it was that one.
Before you turn yourself in, Mr. Marshall, would you mind telling us exactly what happened?
Looks like I won't be getting statements today. Something fishy about that child. There's something was fishy about that child from the very beginning. It wasn't just me either. All the detectives thought so.
What do you mean, fishy?
Some of the facts reported were inconsistent with the evidence we found. For example, the murder weapon.
The murder weapon? You mean that switchblade knife with the broken tip?
That was Joe Doss, alright. But in the initial autopsy report, a question was raised.
A question?
The blade and knife was not a perfect match with the wound the victim sustained.
What does that mean?
It means there's a good chance that knife was not the murder weapon. However, in the report that was finally submitted, that's a possibility had been erased.
Could the facts have been concealed with forged evidence?
That case left behind scars on all of us.
The scars are left the outside others are left behind.
I got looks, but he got the brains. He was one of the best prosecutors around. I just made detective when we went down. It was our first case together.
How old was he? Your brother?
He was 27 at the time. He was awarded the highest honor every day.
The highest honor? The highest honor? You mean the...
King of prosecutors.
I knew it!
What are you looking at me like that for? That's an honor for a prosecutor.
Mr. Marshall must have really been close with his brother. The day the S9 incident took place, that wasn't the same day as...
That's right. The same day as the evidence transfer.
Interesting.
It was drizzling that morning, but not for those thunder. I can't believe 2 years have gone by already. I tried to steal the evidence so the case wouldn't die. Apparently someone tried to stop you.
Detective Goodman, Inspector Gadget was murdered, and the evidence locker was empty.
There was something going on behind the scenes in that case. We all knew that later, every detective involved in that investigation, save one, was taken care of. Miss Starr was fired and I was demoted and boxed away in a tiny room.
What about the Inspector Gadget?
If they did something to him too, the commissioners would have get suspicious. No, they were careful enough not to be too obvious.
They? What are you talking about?
Don't get upset, Bambina. I mean Damon Gant and Lana Sky. The investigation led Damon Gant and his second-in-command Lana Sky. There wasn't a person on the force who hadn't heard of that duo. That case was the biggest step in both their careers. After the case ended, Lana transferred to the prosecutor's office, right? Yeah. Damon Gant, the new chief of police, arranged for that to happen. She's never been the same since she left. Everyone who knew her said so. Chief Prosecutor Sky was totally different when she was a detective.
Now that he mentions it, Emma did say something like that too. Tell me, what happened to my sister?
Sorry, Bambina, but her secret is too well guarded. I'll never found out.
Not a secret. It all started 2 years ago.
Chug it! Chug, 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 chug.
We like to drink with Jake, cause Jake is our mate, and when we drink with Jake...
there you have it. That's my story. Did you enjoy it, partner? It was certainly enlightening. There's one thing for sure I found in court today. That boy Edward sure isn't my enemy. He was the one who used falsified evidence to get a guilty verdict.
That flask never... It's never empty. That flask is never empty. He's joking. Do you know what it is? It's the flask version of the TARDIS. It's bigger on the inside.
But someone else was the one who gave him that evidence and planned everything. That's someone in Stephen Gant.
Again!
Don't believe me? Well, I don't blame you. I won't even a patrol man after today.
There he goes again, drinking another flask.
Too bad I won't be around to work with you when you become a real scientific investigator. Adios, Bambina.
Oh, that's a shame. I like him as a character. I do, especially doing his voice. I like him as a character. That's a shame, that. Where do I go, then? Because I want to go to, Dermot Gant's chief place thing. This place is always pretty empty, but today it's deserted. That must mean everyone's busy solving crimes. Oh, if you're looking for the others, they're all in the conference room. Thanks. Wow, you actually talked to us. The chief prosecutor saying what she did and the decision about what to do, about Mr. Edgeworth, not to mention our statement to the media and tomorrow's trial. There's more chaos going on than Thanksgiving and Christmas put together. I think festive is the word usually used for those. Sir, we'd like to have a look around Chief Gant's office. Just use the connecting hallway to the other building and take the elevators up to the top floor. Really? You mean it's okay for us to go in there? I mean, we're not a police officer or anything. Hey, you're right, you can't go in there, it's off limits. Now I see where Detective Gumshoe gets his unique charm. Well, what are we waiting for? Phoenix Thief mode. Phoenix Thief mode, yeah. Phoenix Thief mode. I love that. All these... Because I know he has like all these superpowers and things like that. Because I played Phoenix Wright 5 and 6, and they have all these like different special powers and things like that. Two people who aren't on this game. Apollo Justice has like a tightening bracelet every time someone lies, and like if you click it, then like you have like super sensitive tell spotting. You've also got Athena Sykes, who has something called a mood matrix, and Phoenix Wright has something called Cyclops. If I remember correctly, I'm not entirely sure. Something like that. And then superpower number 4, Phoenix Thief mode. We're just gonna take that, and that, and that, and that. No one's gonna know. What are we in for? Let's head to the chief's office. Do I even want to? Come on then, let's have a look. Oh my god, okay. Well, I was not expecting this. Why is there just a massive organ here? Yay! Oh, I love this music as well. It's just so suspenseful. I love it. Oh, where am I? Get the chief's office, silly. That's where he sit on the door. Check it out, that pipe organ. That's real, isn't it? Hey, I used to take organ lessons in kindergarten. Damn, that looks expensive. It does. It looks hella expensive. You'd probably get that for probably like, I'd probably have to say like a few 100,000. If not, maybe even pushing the million.
Hey, I used to... Oh, it's just like that. They used to call me Little Miss Bach. Bach? What's his name? I don't know, it's like Bach. I think that's the... I never could remember where C was.
Oh, it's you. Hello.
Chief Gant!
He put that paper he's reading on his desk.
So, righto. So, righto, how have you been swimming lately?
Always with the swimming. Always with the swimming. Why are you so obsessed with swimming, Damon? It's really kind of weird.
No, I haven't. No, I haven't. I've been kind of busy lately. I can appreciate that. I've had my hands full too, with Mr. Marshall's misconduct. There we go, misconduction, I was going to say. And Lawless provocative statement. No, yes.
Provocative statement? Oh, you mean about the forged evidence? Yeah.
Two years have passed since that, isn't it? My, how time flies. Yes. See that big picture on the wall over there?
Wait, that's the pot! That's the pot! Look behind the pot! It's the... Oh! Okay, though. The king prosecutes thing, it's missing the shield. Ooh, okay, so that's a couple of things that pique my interest. Ah, that's interesting then.
Here's a picture of Lana, Neil, and I.
So this is Mr. Marshall's brother, prosecutor Neil Marshall.
We took it together to commemorate our work together. Yes.
Something's not wrong with this picture. I can't quite seem to put my finger on it though. Guarantee picture. Hey, that knife on the knife statue looks sharp and dangerous. Yes, honestly, I thought it was the knife that on the statue. Honestly, I thought it was Lana Skies. I thought she had like a little knife or something that was like hers when she was a detective. I don't know.
I'm going to lock up here, so let's go out together.
Oh, this office was a crime scene 2 years ago, wasn't it?
That case has long since been over. There's no need to investigate it anymore.
All the same, we'd like to have a look around.
Perhaps you didn't hear me. I said there's no need to investigate it anymore.
Ah. You know, I'm starting to think our little thing with Gant and Lana is true. He seems very forceful, I guess. Very... yeah, forceful. Yeah.
Now hurry up and get out. I have a meeting to attend. Yes.
Looks like we aren't welcome. It seems that case isn't over with yet after all. What do you mean? Chief Gant denied our request to search the crime scene. That means there must be a reason he doesn't want us looking around in there. You mean like a clue? There's got to be a way we can get inside the Chief's office. And a clue we shall find in the next episode. God, this is just getting better and better. More and more clues. The problem is, though, more and more clues are being found, but less and less questions are actually being answered. So I guess we shall just have to wait and see.
But if you guys did enjoy this episode, please, please, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. It really, really does help. Click the bell icon to be notified when I live stream or upload a video, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye!